ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. Yes, we are back. Our usual midday market report with good friend and colleague, Mr. Andrew McInnis, as we'll talk some NHL abbreviated. Big slate here. Andrew's got his puck time show in 23 minutes. I'll make sure I don't make them mad at me here, as we're going to go over the board. And as always with Andrew, some pucks, props, and thoughts on tonight's board. And at the top of the hour, God willing, Matt Grissom at M Grissom on X, talking some NCAAF and NFL and whatever he'd like to talk about. So without further ado, let's bring him in, Mr. Andrew McInnis. What's up, Andrew?
Mr. JD, how are you?
Good, how are you?
You know, I'd be lying to you if I said I was great right now, but I'm just got a lot going on. Technology usually, as you know, is something I think I'm pretty good at. And today's been a weird tech day for me, dealing with all kinds of programs crashing out on me and trying to understand a couple different things. So that's been tough to deal with. Other than that, we're doing pretty good. We're in the holiday spirit. I got my Buddy the Elf shirt on. We got Christmas dinners tonight, Christmas stuff tomorrow. And I love the slate today in the NHL. So not too bad. But, you know, if I didn't mention that to you, Jeff, it'd be on my chest the whole show. So I got to let it out to somebody. And I'm feeling tech frustrated right now.
Well, I did send you a little dig via text on your cell phone. I don't know if you looked at it. I said, right on time, LOL. And so I can see the frustration. I can see it right now. So it's all good. Got a few minutes to get it out here. The headliner, can the Habs ruin the Bruins' Christmas at TD Garden? We face off a Bruins team leaking some oil, maybe reality finally setting in there. Struggled at the Garden the last handful of games. Before we dive into the slate, before we dive into that one, as I like to usually do, the landscape since the last time you and I have been on our channel up for a week, what you've seen in the NHL.
Well, I think, Jeff, you know, everybody talks about American Thanksgiving as being that benchmark for these NHL teams, but I think we might have to start using Christmas as that benchmark for teams, because this is when we start to finally see who's settling into which position, who's in what spot. You know, I gotta finally tip my cap to the Detroit Red Wings, Jeff. This might be the year the Weiser plan gets them back into the playoffs, because they look pretty good right now. This team's playing very, very well. How about the Minnesota Wild? I mean, you got two great goaltenders. You make that big move. You pick up Quinn Hughes. They're not missing a beat right now. They're doing super well. But the teams that are making me laugh are teams like the Predators and, you know, some of these teams that are starting to get it going, like the Canucks. And it's like, don't you guys want a draft pick? Don't you guys want the top 5 pick? Because they're picking the worst time to get it going a little bit here right now. But I'll tell you, we're starting to see some of these teams. You mentioned the Bruins, but overall, some of these teams that were kind of near the top of their division starting to slip a little bit. And I'm very curious going into today's slate, as we always look at it before a holiday break, after a holiday break. Do we see overs, Jeff? What's your take on that? You know, do we see sloppiness? Do we see the grand salami over? Or do we see boring hockey? I'm curious what we end up seeing out of that. But I'll tell you that the East continues to be so competitive, and the only real teams with like massive losing records actually are currently in the Western Conference. But there's not many teams, Jeff, compared to a lot of leagues in years past in the NHL where, you can just say, okay, this is a safe bet to go against this team. You really can't. And, we're 5 minutes, 50 seconds into the show. I got to get my digs in on the Maple Leafs. Like, they're pretty much done. They fire their assistant coach. They've got their star players not playing well. I'm still seeing fans on social media making fun of Mitch Marner. How you making fun of Mitch Marner? You guys are going to miss the playoffs, So it's very, very interesting to see. But what bothers me the most right now is all the injuries that teams are dealing with. It's not just one team. Every team is dealing with it. So I guess maybe it's kind of an equal playing field as far as that's concerned. But a lot of injuries so far this year, Jeff.
Well, you brought up the Grand Salami, 13 games in all, a 78.5, juiced over 15 cents. Do some quick math. That's 5.5s across the board. The only 6.5 pre-flop, Utah at Colorado. Everything, there's a 6 San Jose and Vegas, 6 Nashville, Minnesota, 6 Buffalo, Ottawa. That's it. The rest are 5.5s. Now the public's going to move some of those 5.5s to 6s. We know that, of course. But I think the sports books are playing the conservative route. Maybe some grab ass, maybe some, hey, wink, wink. Let's each get a 1-pointer and then let's open it up in overtime.
I wonder, good point there. I wonder how many draws we see today. I wonder if that impacts the draws. Find some games that are pick'ems or closer to some, pretty good prices, and maybe sprinkle on that plus 310, plus 320, see if we can get a good number out of them. I also think it's interesting because you look at yesterday, I had it written down here somewhere, but you had a handful of teams, that are playing today that played yesterday as well, right? And one that stood out to me right away was kind of like that LA and Seattle one, right? Because like Seattle looked pretty good. They shocked the world, and LA looked pretty bad. They're not going to be happy. So you got to think that some teams going into today are going to be satisfied, and some teams going into today are going to be like, we really want to win our last game, and some of these teams are probably like, I saw the Bruins quotes as a Canadians fan, some of the quotes out of the Bruins locker room. I'm scared to watch the game. It's like, we have to win this game. We have to get back on track. So, it's interesting because it could mean goals or it could mean very competitive games. Very interesting to see what ends up happening, because I know we're acting like it's some big holiday break. It's only a handful of days, but for these players, it is a decent break. So you really do want to go into the break on a good note. No team's going to want to get slapped around tonight and lose, 7-2. It won't be a good look.
No, and again, after this break and then the New Year's, then it's the push to the Olympic break. So it'll be real interesting what happens at the start of 2026 in January and the month of January leading up to Milan and the Olympics there. Looking at the slate, I'll start Montreal, Boston. Overnight, I had the Bruins minus 126. Your Habs plus 104 with a 5.5 juiced under minus 18 cents at the Circa. Good morning to Mr. Benson and Mr. Stevens. They currently have some money trickling in on your Montreal Habs here. Where's my eyes? There you go. Bruins now minus 116. Habs still at plus 104, but they moved the total to 6 over minus 15 cents. First one to 4 wins this game, Andrew.
I'll tell you, 4 straight games against the Bees, Cole Caulfield goal. So Caulfield, his line didn't play very well the last time out in their most recent game. Maybe this could be a good spot here. Plus 170, the best price that I saw available for him. Could be something worth looking at when it comes to that. And funny enough, Charlie McAvoy, assists or goal, shots on goal props. The Canadians don't do very well against defensemen. They give up a ton of shots from the point. Maybe the trailing defensive player gets the puck quite a bit on the rush, whatever it might be. Maybe Charlie McAvoy is a guy to look for today as well.
Before we get into the pucks, props, and thoughts, we have a few minutes here. A big slate here. I'm trying to, ECSI VIPs 2-1 in college basketball, and kind of, I'll throw myself under the bus. The Ducks have been so good to us. In team totals, overs, almost that game, looking at it, when they highlight and they give you the carrot, Ducks team total over, it wasn't under, it was over 3.5, minus 15 cents. You saw the grab ass pond hockey, that late goal in the second, 1-1. You're like, all right, Ducks, here we go. Let's get the attack going. Wake up in 3-1 loss there. As you said, Seattle played well last night, and the Kings, well, they got crowned. They're playing each other at 10:07. That before Christmas Eve, let me get some late night action. A 5.5. Kings big favorites. Wouldn't you think it's a good spot on both of them on a back-to-back for the Kings staying home to bounce back here?
I think, yeah, I'm looking at Jeff, it's been a long time since I think you've given it out and with me with that first period puck line. Is today the day for it? I did my show last night. I recorded for it. The thing is, it's almost like some of these teams need the full game to really get it going. And that first period, you kind of want to be very particular with it. But I saw plus 124 last night when I recorded my video. That stood out to me just in a really, really big way, and like, it's kind of funny because I did two picks, two breakdowns, and one of them was actually talking about the Flyers game, and obviously the Flyers are coming off a win, right? And I was like, well, they very well could go 2-0 because they've got the Canucks and the Hawks. That's a pretty good 2-game set to end off before the holidays, right? Playing, the Canucks and the Hawks. But I was like, well, maybe I'm still thinking about some goals in that one. But when you look at this spot for the Kings, they've got to be upset. And one funny thing is for them is that they're probably going to make a trade soon. Like they already traded away Philip Deneau, but now they've got a ton of cap space. If you're a player on that team, especially if you're a depth player, you're sort of competing for your spot a little bit. Like a lot of people talk about the top players when it comes to trades, but nobody realizes when it comes down to the bottom players. If you trade for somebody, then somebody's losing their spot. So what do you think, Jeff? I saw you on your phone checking the numbers there. First period play, or how do you want to approach it? Just because it's a massive, massive number on them, right?
Well, you talking the Kings?
Yeah.
Well, they're minus 170 on the money line. Circus giving you plus 140 minus the hook in the first period. But here it is. Under over first period, under 1.5 is minus 112. Over is minus 108. So they're telling you 1-0. Do you believe in the Kings to get that 1-0?
Wait, you're talking about the LA Kings, right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing money line minus 230.
You're looking at the full game. I was looking at the first.
Oh, period. The first period money line. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I just think look, I had the Kraken on the weekend, and how often do we see that? I just don't expect back-to-back performances like that from the Kraken. They did well against the Sharks, I guess, but can they do it 3 straight times? I guess that's maybe everyone's famous last words, right? Can they do it 3 straight times? But you know what, then? Maybe you're talking me into this, then. Maybe it's not the first period puck line. Maybe it's just the first period over 1.5. What's the number you're getting on that one?
Over 1.5, minus 108.
Wow.
They're expecting a tight game there.
Honestly, that probably makes me prefer just to go with the Kings side then. Because they're saying that one team is probably going to win the first period 1-0, right?
Correct. Well, let me put it in perspective. Abs and Mammoth. Abs full game is minus 260. First period minus 185. You can get the Avs minus a half goal plus 122. The under over 1.5 first period is 142. We know the Avs score in the first period. The question is, do the Mammoth score? You feel more comfortable, I would assume, on the Avs side. Not that we want to run to the window laying the 142, but they're giving you plus 122 on minus the hook in the first period. Is it 1-1 is the question.
Who's at home in that one? I can't remember.
Colorado.
Yeah, I'd feel more comfortable. I prefer to back Utah in any way to do anything good at home. So Colorado or pass. Every angle, Colorado or pass with me.
It's
And that one.
it is hard because again, it's the day before Christmas Eve. It's a big slate. They're not giving us any love on the Grand Salami. Maybe there's a handful of games that are 2-1, 1-0, and then you get a few of these shootouts. But as we always like to do here, I'm going to give you the board, some pucks, props, and thoughts. How's that?
Well, like I was going to just say, would you say, Jeff, the like a lot of times before the break, for the most part, you're going to see divisional matchups, right? So let's look at which ones aren't divisional matchups. Pittsburgh, Toronto, not one. Dallas, Detroit, not one. Florida, Carolina, not a divisional matchup. What else do we have here? Philadelphia, Chicago, not one there. We've got, so I would say that those are the games that we could expect maybe a little bit different of a style of hockey because there's not divisional matchups. Like I feel like those divisional matchups do mean something a bit more. Now, when it comes to my Montreal Canadiens, I wouldn't be shocked to see some goals in that one tonight. The young kid, Jacob Fowler's getting the start. He's been phenomenal, but also, it always makes me laugh, Jeff, because if a goalie stands on their head, all the media members that are supposed to know so much about hockey, they'll tell us the team played so well defensively, right? Oh, no, the team looked great defensively. No, they didn't. This Habs team is playing pretty much the same defensively. They're just getting better goaltending. It's not like magically the defense got better. The goalie just got better. And if you keep on giving up those chances, you're going to get scored on. So, as I mentioned, that plus 170, 175 on Caulfield, that prop seems pretty interesting. Buffalo, Ottawa, I'll tell you what, like Buffalo's rolling right now, but you know what? So is Ottawa. And Ottawa's a team. They're one of my favorite teams to back, and I haven't been backing them enough right now. But looking at all Canadian teams, Montreal, Edmonton, Toronto, Calgary, whoever it is, this Ottawa team, and I say it to you all the time, and I say it to everybody out there, and you're an Ottawa guy as well, put these players in a Leafs jersey, and everyone would love them. Everybody would love this team. That's a good team total, over 3.5 for them. Nashville, Minnesota. Look, I respect what Nashville's been doing lately. They have been playing better. But Minnesota's off that tough loss. They won't be happy about that loss they had against the Avalanche, and some of the recent games they've been playing still not to their liking. I'm going to go with Nashville team total under 2.5. We love those team totals over. Every now and then we have to look towards the team totals under. I think we do get a good defensive performance at home from Minnesota. The other one I liked, talked about it earlier a little bit, but Philadelphia, Chicago over 5.5. This is one game I could see some goals in. Now, Frank Nazar is out. Connor Bedard is out. So that's a little bit of a difference. But I never would have thought this, but, Philadelphia might have finally found their goaltender, and that guy's name is Dan Vladar. Well, Vladar played last night. I had the Flyers, and you look at it right now, and you think to yourself, okay, he's not going to be able to make those big saves. The Flyers had a big win last night. Maybe they'll take this game lightly against Chicago. And I think Chicago's lost 4 of their last 5 games. They're going to come into this one as about as hungry as they possibly can. But we've been seeing some regression in between the pipes, some regression defensively for this team. And people didn't realize, a lot of the wins Chicago was getting was because of their goaltending and because of some big defensive plays. So I think we'll get a hungry Chicago team, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Philadelphia give up more goals. The drop off from the 1A to the 1B for this team, Jeff, is one to circle. It's definitely one to circle. Some of these teams, there's not as big of a drop off. I think there definitely is for Philadelphia when it comes to Vladar versus Samuel Urson. And then, I think when I look at that Seattle and LA game, I want to find a way to bet LA in some way, shape, or form. They're hanging a big number, but what do we always say sometimes? Like I always try and remember your quotes, and whether it's when we did CFL videos together, when we've done different videos together, and the opener for the full game I saw was minus 250, roughly 248 at some spots, right? So, the books like the LA Kings, I think they'll take this game serious. Seattle coming into this one, the old fat and sassy, feeling pretty good about themselves, coming off 2 wins. And boy, did Seattle look pretty good last night. I'm not so sure they can do it again. Couple goal scorers I'd look for tonight. I do like the Hurricanes as well, I'll mention, but this one kind of stood out to me. 6 of Sam Bennett's last 9 games against Carolina, he has a goal, plus 220. That's not too bad. As I mentioned, Caulfield is a pretty good one, plus 170. There was one more I wanted to mention. Martin Necas, I have no idea why we continue to get good prices on him. He is plus 220, of course, plays for the Colorado Avalanche, and the total is 6.5, open at 6.5. You can get plus 220 on him. And there was one shot prop I wanted to mention. Where is it? Bear with me. We're going to take the over shots on goal with Tage Thompson. You know, whether or not they win or lose in this game against Ottawa, I think we're going to see a handful of shots. And instead of taking the minus 150, 155, 160 on the over 2.5 shots on goal, we're going to go over 3.5 shots on goal plus 140 for him. This is a team in Ottawa that gives up the 23rd ranked in shots on goal against centermen. And it'd be a very Ottawa Senator thing to do and Buffalo Sabre thing to do if we went into the break with like a game that combined for like 9 goals. I would not be shocked. And if that's the case, we see a lot of shots. So should be a really good day. I'm looking forward to it. And I'll tell you what, a lot of rivalries today, And so the last thing I'll mention is it a day to look towards power play points? If we see rivalries, we see penalties, typically that takes us towards power plays and power play points.
One point I do want to add before I let you go is Fowler, you said between the pipes. Isn't a little homecoming for him tonight, correct?
That is true. So a little bit extra special for him in this one.
That's
Lots of friends and family. And you know what? It's funny. I think he's played better on the road so far than he has played at home with the Habs. We'll see.
Scroll has been going the whole time. Of course, they can follow you at McInnis Picks at Wager Talk, WT.buzz/A&M. It's $5 Tuesday. Tell them what you got behind the paywall.
Yeah, we get team total play for $5 at Wager Talk. We also actually have a 5% play going for a regular price, but you guys can use the promo code SAVEHALF. SAVEHALF is the promo code to take half off my 5% play. So join me on the team total for $5 or use that promo code SAVEHALF to get 50% off my big play in the NHL. And hopefully Jeff's rooting me on, and hopefully we're on the same page with that big play. Thanks so much. Happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, and we'll talk soon, brother.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Quick commercial break. When we come back, Mr. Matt Grissom. Stay tuned.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Well, a lot of sweat was going on when we talked last to Matt, and he was even nervous. Wasn't his computer model selection, but sometimes you got to zig when they zag. So let's bring the champ in, Mr. Matt Grissom. What's up, champ?
What's going on, Jeff? We did it. Thankfully, Best Bet Delaware got through, and then Arkansas State defies the model, wins 34-28 in the first ever Xbox Bowl to go 27-8 over a 5-week period, picking 7 games each week ATS.
Well, I was listening to Matt Yeomans and Derek on VSiN the following night, and Matt brought up your run, and Derek's like, "Oh, Matt, yeah, we were in Omaha, with the crew and the gang. So, touche, congrats, Beeson, here we come.
Yeah, got to go on there. Maybe, just maybe, and Matt teased it the other night on our segment. Maybe a invitation to the Circa Friday Football Invitational. That would be nice. I've just been asking Derek for maybe 5 years now to please do a college football contest because everything that they do is great. And so I know if he ever dabbles in college football, that will be a great contest too, just like Millions, just like Circa Survivor. But he hadn't done it yet. The Invitational is the closest thing he's done, and you have to be selected to be in that. So,
Well, it's funny because, I was a part of it a handful of years ago. The Golden Nugget always was the king of
yep.
the college football, 7 picks a week. Um, then Westgate jumps in. Derek with their Circa Survivor, their Circa Millions. Maybe, just maybe, if he gets enough, chirps in his ear, maybe he doesn't want to take away. Is the Nugget still doing it or not?
I don't think so. The last time that I talked to Tony about it over the sportsbook director, I had finished 7th in that contest, and he was paying me out, and I just kind of banter back and forth. I said, this was a fun contest. And he goes, yeah, this may have been the last year of it though. He was just sad. He was, looked like he had just been defeated. And I think Circa moving in downtown really, took it to them. The book was completely empty. And this was in the middle of like a random Saturday of college football. So, or NFL. So, and during the NFL playoffs, yeah, just a sad deal. So I don't think they're doing it anymore. William Hill, they did one. I don't know if they did one this year though. College football only.
Yeah, I think it was just the Westgate, if I remember correctly, which I could
Yeah.
be totally wrong there. Be nice to see Derek get his feet wet into that as well. Bowl games going on, of course. Last weekend, listen, Oklahoma 17-0. Game's over. Let me see, a fumbled punt by Oklahoma, a pick six, 17-17, and Alabama took it to him in the second half. Held on at the end. Thoughts about that game? More surprised Alabama winning that game, or was that more on the Oklahoma? I mean, again, the punt and then the pick six, 17 up at halftime. If you had Oklahoma minus whatever first half, oh my God, extra shot for you.
Yeah, I think Twitter, me included, had kind of written off Alabama at that point. I think they all thought that Oklahoma had won because they were up big at the half. And Alabama got a pulse and found some offensive rhythm. And now I think Bama is the dangerous team. You saw what they did against a really good defense in Oklahoma. Now, they take on Indiana in what could be another great game, especially if Alabama carries over this momentum and gets off to a hot start. Now, I think if you go down 17-0 at the half to Indiana, it's probably a different result. But it was just like, oh, wait a second. We have Ty Simpson. We have Ryan Williams. We have a really good offense. Let's move the ball.
The other game that all the naysayers got their chest out, I mean, it was dentist root canal, no Novocaine. This was zeros, threes, missed field goals. I know if you look at the scoreboard, well, Miami missed the 3 field goals, but at the end, A&M had a chance to tie it. I guess for most people, because I know Miami and Alabama were the 2 dogs that everyone was barking about, and then of course the 2 big favorites. But thoughts on Miami and A&M? I guess you can say they are who we thought they are.
Yeah, I wasn't a buyer of A&M. They were the beneficiary of a very weak SEC schedule. don't have to play Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Got to miss all of those guys, and you take on another team with a pretty good defense, and Miami takes advantage of it. The model loved Miami, made them minus 3.7, ended up getting the 7-point win, but that was my best bet going into quarter 4 of the VSiN contest. I had best bet Miami +3 and the under. So if you're following along on Twitter, hopefully you cash that one because loved Miami in that spot.
Well, I'm going to pull up the tote board. Let me see if I can get in there here. I'm going to try it. Survey says, bear with me, Matt.
No, you're good.
Let's go here. Go here. Oops. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Some look aheads. On New Year's Eve, we have, as we speak, come on, eyes. There we go. Miami, Ohio State opened at 9.5 with a 42.5. At circa 9.5, 42.5. Initial thoughts with the opener there.
Are we really going to do this again with Miami getting too many points? I want to take this at 10.5. I think Miami is live in this one, though. I think their defense is just good enough to hang with Ohio State. Their offense has got to do better than what they were against A&M. But you look at how well they run the ball. That Fletcher kid, Mark Fletcher, number 4 running back for Miami, he torched Texas A&M's rush defense. And Ohio State, if they give up the run and let Carson Beck throw it over the top, I think Miami could win this game. Now, I think it's unlikely, but I think Miami could definitely cover. I'm not completely sold on this Ohio State team. I don't think the offense is very good. The defense it's got a lot of talent on it, but I don't know. And I don't trust Ryan Day. That said, I don't really trust Mario Cristobal either.
If I pulled the tape from last year, you and the rest of the world was saying the same thing a year ago in this exact spot. And the only difference is they were hosting the Tennessee Vols, 8-point favorites, and they put up almost a 50 burger. I think they scored the first 5 times. Here, everyone remembers what they saw last. They saw the fact that they lost to an Indiana team. We know they got the top 3 defense in the country. We haven't seen the offense. Now, they don't have Chip Kelly back there. They got this offense cooking with Crisco for this playoff run. But I kind of have to think that they got a chip on the shoulder. They're still the favorites to win this whole thing, Matt.
Yeah. And I think, again, I think they beat Miami. I think this is a lot of points. I think we're undervaluing Miami and we're overvaluing Ohio State. Of course, the model would disagree with me. They make the model makes Ohio State minus 11.1. So covering the 10. But I could see a 31-21, 31-24 top game. I think it's lower scoring. I'll probably be on the under. And when I lean under, I lean underdog. So give me the points with Miami. I'm going to go against better judgment.
Well, I want to now give us a tip on the hat here. We were trying to project the Oregon, Texas Tech, and we were spot on there. They opened up to Oregon minus 1.5. There are some 2s out there. Comically, and I was listening and talking to Mr. Benson, listening to Mr. Murray at the Westgate, listening to Mr. Andrews at the South Point, and every time they put a 21.5 or a 22, the shops were coming in last weekend and pounding JMU. And wouldn't you know, The back door was open, a 99-yard drive, and here comes JMU for the backdoor cover.
Yeah, totally improbable. Ruined my perfect day there. I had Ole Miss. I had Mississippi, not Mississippi, Miami, and the under, and then I had Oregon. And I'm looking great halfway through the day, or halfway through the game, and then they just took the foot off the gas. And I don't know if people are buying into Texas Tech yet. But if you want to talk about what our eyes just saw, my eyes just saw a Dan Lanning team that got really comfortable and started playing defense very loosely. Let me tell you something. Baron Morton, Cameron Dickey, Jacoby Williams, this Texas Tech team is dangerous. People have said this is the most expensive college football roster that money can buy. It is for a reason. Like, they're not just, this isn't dumb luck that they're number 4 in the country and had a bye in the college football playoff. I think Texas Tech is legitimate. If they're 12-1 in the Big Ten, the SEC, they're the favorite to win the national championship. Their biggest bugaboo is the whole strength of schedule. Outside of the game where their third string quarterback played against Arizona State in a game which they got blown out early and then almost came back and won, they are perfect and they're dominating people. I'm talking 3, 4, 5 touchdown wins in every game that they've played. So, yeah, strength of schedule matters. You can look at every other team. Indiana almost lose to Penn State, who's really bad this year. Takes a miracle catch in the back of the end zone. Ohio State. You kind of get by Texas. Texas win didn't end up being that great of a win. You lose to Indiana, your offense kind of sputters. Georgia. Alabama hangs 500 yards of total offense on you and you lose. I mean, every team has a hole. I can't find one for Texas Tech outside of the one game where their starting quarterback didn't play.
Well, here's the, I haven't been buying the Ducks all year. I just haven't seen the flash. I haven't seen the flare. They lose in the opening round last year. Dan Lanning could have went wherever he wanted to go. He stuck and stayed. He could have left again this year. No, I'm sticking and staying. I mean, Dan,
this will be the best game in the college football playoff.
Dan, you got Phil Knight, Nike money. You ain't going anywhere. But here's my point. I'm going to take you back to the Big Ten. We didn't know how Indiana would match up to Ohio State, both sides of the ball. We found out real quick. Oregon had the game won. We had their team total over 17.5 in the first half. Well, they covered the full game in the first half. Never mind the first half. But my point is this. This is, and I've been a big Texas Tech backer all year. I'm like, they've been getting disrespected. We know that Oregon was going to open up at 1.5, now 2 in some spots because they're looking for Texas Tech money. Everyone knows Oregon, the green, the uniforms, the flash. How come right now as we speak, I got that Indiana, Ohio State? We don't know how Texas Tech matches up both sides of the ball against Oregon. We don't. I mean, we saw it against BYU. But other than that, with what happened to them last year, they have the experience. Why am I a little nervous here? Because, listen, Oregon could have called their score. I mean, three touchdown favorites. This is a different ballgame here. We know that. But why am I a little apprehensive? Because I'm a little nervous on this spot right now for Texas Tech.
Our power ratings make Oregon a 0.25 favorite. The model projects Texas Tech to win 31-28. I mean, this is neck and neck. Texas Tech minus 2.4. Circa opened this. Talk about reading the market. Circa opened Tech minus 1.5. Now it's flipped. Now you get +1.5, +2 with Tech. What do you
Well,
make of that?
Well, it's simple. Benson and his risk room is making a statement. They're on the Texas Tech side, so what they did by opening them 1.5 is let's get that early Oregon money in to flip it. Let them bet Oregon at +1.5, +1, pick them -1, -1.5, now -2. So they got their base of Oregon money. Now they'll get the two-way action. But they made a statement that we're on the Texas Tech side.
Yeah. I have to go Texas Tech. I think that they're more sound on offense, and the defense is, I don't want to say better, because Oregon's defense is really good, and Tech has done just as impressive things on defense as Oregon, but I think Oregon's maybe done it on a tougher schedule. But again, they give up a lot of points. I mean, overall offense, Tech ranks 23rd in our metrics, first in overall defense. Oregon ranks 9th in overall defense and 3rd in overall offense. I mean, this is going to be a great game. It's less than a field goal game. I think it's going to be on the lower scoring side, which is not what you think of when you think, I mean, let's be real. Texas Tech, Oregon football. I think Mike Leach, Marcus Mariota, DeAnthony, whatever is that, DeAnthony Jordan, I think was the running back's name for Oregon. Like, I'm thinking 55-54 type shootout. No, these are two really good defenses. The high-flying offenses are there, but I don't think they're doing it against each other's defenses. I think this is going to be a lot of feeling each other out the first quarter. I'll probably look to have a first half or first quarter under ticket, because I could honestly see this game like 14-10 at the half, and everybody kind of like, whoa, okay, this isn't like we're not just going straight up and down the field for a touchdown every single time we touch the ball.
Second game of the day, Alabama, Indiana, opened at 6.5 here. Again, rest versus rust. Alabama gets out of Normandy and now plays this Indiana team that's been reading its clippings now for weeks with the Big Ten champs, the Heisman Trophy, Fernando Mendoza. No one gave Alabama a chance in this tournament, especially the fact that they had to start on the road. Here they are facing the number one team in the country, Indiana. You've already talked about the Alabama side. What scares you on the Indiana side?
Nothing. I think they have the coaching advantage. They have the quarterback advantage. I think Alabama's got strength of schedule on them. But Alabama can't run the ball. They're 79th in our metrics running the ball. Indiana's 6th in stopping it. Probably won't have to much, because I feel like it's going to be the Mendoza and Ty Simpson show where they're just airing it out. You've got defensive IXDSA, so it's drive success against the pass. For Alabama, they're 9th. For Indiana, they're 24th. So if Alabama wants to win, it's going to be because of Ty Simpson. The model makes it 11.3 in favor of Indiana, winning 33-22-ish. So I think Indiana is probably winning. It just depends on which offense for Alabama. Like I indicated earlier, if you go down 17-0 to Indiana,
Right,
like you did Oklahoma, I think you're done. But if Ty Simpson comes out flinging it, this could be something that Indiana really hasn't seen in like an up-tempo offense where they're throwing it a lot, which could surprise them.
The last game rematch, Mississippi, Georgia, no Lane Kiffin. Mississippi, just absolutely well-oiled machine. Hats off to them. They took all the distractions away and just mauled Tulane. This game opened at 6.5. I still got some 6.5s there. It comes down to basically the Mississippi defense. How are they going to slow down, or how many points are they going to allow? And then obviously the Mississippi offense versus the Georgia defense.
Yeah, model makes this Georgia minus 4.6, winning 34-29. So 34-28, if you're talking like real football scores. I don't know the last time I saw a 29. But I think we'd take that, and I think you'd take Ole Miss plus the points. I told humans when I was on VSiN while I was back in Ole Miss minus 17 versus Tulane, it had been quiet in Oxford. We don't have Lane Twitter fingers Kiffin out there tweeting. Pete Golding has his team focused. They're playing for each other. They dominated Tulane for 4 quarters. I mean, that was an absolute dismantling. I think they're going to be ready to play Georgia. I don't think they're outmatched. I don't think they're missing in athleticism from what Georgia has. Georgia's been playing better football later, but I'm just saying, watch out for Ole Miss. I think they're a very good team, and I think they're focused in a way that we have not ever seen I mean, let's be honest. Bob Chesney, John Summerall, they're all coaching their teams in the college football playoff. Lane Kiffin's not. And he left a college football team, a college football playoff team. This is crazy. This is uncharted territory. But I think if they did anything right, it was immediately naming Pete Golding the coach. You get Charlie Weiss Jr. there for the continuity to call offensive plays. This is, in my opinion, a team to look out for the rest of the way.
And I'll say this simply. If Mississippi wins the turnover battle, they cover this game, and they are definitely, the dogs are on upset alert. If they have to chase, and let's say they have a early turnover and Georgia is moving the ball methodically. Again, like I said about the Ducks, I've said the same thing about Georgia. This is not the national champ Georgia team from a few years ago. They're playing a lot better. I'm not saying that. And I think they're everyone's darling, because of the price to win this tournament. But my point is, if Ole Miss hangs around, especially the first quarter, the first half, hasn't turned the ball over, maybe even has a lead at half, they're one dangerous dog.
Yeah. But again, I think we've seen Georgia playing the best football they have lately. And I also think that we've just seen Ole Miss playing their best football lately too. And I think that's what you want in the college football playoff. And I also think that what we saw last weekend is going to be the end of your JMUs and Tulane's getting in the college football playoff. I think that was just uncompetitive football that people didn't want to see. But buckle up, because this week should be the exact opposite of that. I think outside of Notre Dame, you have the 8 best teams playing right now.
Yeah, we had 4 teams in waiting. Well, actually 3, obviously. We had BYU, we had Texas, and we had Notre Dame. And then you just picked the 4. You could have thrown Vandy in there if you wanted your 4th team for your 16 brackets there. We're going to figure out if we're going to be back next week before these games start, obviously on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I did change it, of course. You can now follow Matt on X at @Grissom. You can check out his work at NCAA Insiders. But as we always wrap up this segment, Matt, tell them where they can find all your written work.
It is in the link in my bio. Got a good bump in followers. Trying to get to 5,000 here by the end of the year. We've got 3 bowl games on tap. I've got my model projections up, looking at Toledo and Louisville in the Boca Raton Bowl. Toledo missing a lot of people, including their coach. Their quarterback is doubtful to play with an injury. Not looking good for Toledo, even though the model likes them. And now at the plus 10.5, I think you can get. So I'm going to tread lightly with that one, do a little bit more research, but I'll put some picks out before that 2 p.m. Eastern start time, as well as in the New Orleans Bowl, Western Kentucky, Southern Miss. And then tonight caps off with the Frisco Bowl, UNLV versus Ohio. I'll put out all those previews as well, as you can click on the link in my bio at mgrissom on Twitter and check out all of the sims. And I appreciate the follows.
Want to wish everyone a happy Merry Christmas. Be safe. Enjoy the family time. ECSI will be dark tomorrow for Christmas Eve, so everyone can get their last minute gifts, get their wrapping done, get their meal prepared for Christmas Day. We'll be back live on Friday. It looks like Nick Hathcote will be back at his usual spot to talk some games. Scotty Webb will be back around 9:30 to talk some recaps as well. Everyone here, enjoy. We only have 8 days left in 2025. So listen, I know there's a million bowl games out there. Listen, if you got to play them, scratch an itch, pizza, beer, money. If you got something you really like, then just don't go overboard. I know you got most of your Christmas done, if not all of it done. Save some money in that bankroll to bring over to 2026.
So here is an interesting fact about the bowl games is that if you have a favorite side and it's the dog, just bet the money line. Favorites are 5-3 ATS, 5-3 straight up. The 3 that they lost is because the underdog won outright. So the spread has not mattered at all in any of these bowl games, which tells me one thing, one glaring thing. It is a race for information. If you can get on the right side of the team that is playing better players than the other team has opting out, you're in a good spot. And thankfully, I've tracked most of this. Here we are at, I think the model is in these. Let me just look real quick. We're 8-4 in the bowl games so far. So we'll take that, including a college football playoff.
As we always say, when you play a dog, especially in college, sprinkle a little beer and pizza money on that money line, even as crazy as it looks.
And always shop around. But there were guys in my Twitter last night yesterday talking about Washington State. Hard Rock did a promo. You could take Washington State money line plus 180. They were plus 1 or plus 1.5. Like that on pure value alone. If you leaned Washington State, you got to take it. Pay attention.
Listen to the champ. Listen to the champ. Hopefully you get in next year, so we'll be excited there. Hold on, by the way. There was a little breaking news, a little birdie talking about some college baseball last week. Do you have anything you'd like to talk about college baseball before we leave?
It's still kind of top secret, but we're working on something big. I'll just put it to you that way. We will have more information, better news, better stats, better everything through a collaboration of minds going into the 2026 season. I'll leave it at that.
You heard it here first. For myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Matt Grissom at M Grissom at NCAA Insiders. Enjoy the holidays. We'll be back on Friday, and stay tuned.